folks. Yeah, it's man, July actually kind of went by quick, didn't it? I mean, I guess I probably could have mentioned that in yesterday's video, but I mean, but you know what? It's a beautiful day out. That's nice. I mean, actually, my low is a combination of a couple of things. We experienced, at least in my area, our first cool night. I mean, that was largely due to the fact that we got a lot of rain yesterday. Like in yesterday's video, I mentioned it was raining. Like, we got a lot of rain. Which, yeah, considering how hot Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were, yeah, I'd say we could have used a little bit of rain. But also, I think it might be due to like that sudden change in weather because, man, for whatever reason, I just could not really get much sleep. I got maybe 2 hours altogether. I'm surprised I'm actually still functioning at the moment. Which means it's either going to hit me during the recording of this video or it's going to hit me sometime afterwards. Which I really hope it's not the latter because I actually have a very nice day planned. Going to spend the day with my mom. Well, there actually is some important stuff I need to do. But you know what, I gotta do it with my mom, so yeah, let's do that then. My high was yesterday's Hot Ones episode, and my act of kindness was I actually wound up doing a ridiculously huge favor. A ridiculously huge favor. I can't really share what it is at this moment in time. All you need to know is this is the kind of favor where while I did it, I really did not want to do it. Which, yeah, I guess would go into my love for yesterday. But you know what? We ended July on a good note. We got a new Hot Ones episode, so let's talk about that, shall we? Yeah, full stop. I only just turned on my computer now, so I'm only just now uploading my notes that I typed from the episode, because that's what we do here. Also, no word as to if this was the season 27 finale. I mean, it didn't necessarily, actually the last couple seasons, Sean really hasn't been the greatest at explaining that this is because if it was a season finale, Sean would say, and to close out season, whatever number it is, we have, whatever the guess is. He didn't say that yesterday, which could mean one of two things. It could mean that it really wasn't the finale and we get the finale next week, or he just simply forgot to say it. I really believe at this point, I really do believe either scenario. In Sean Evans, we trust. Sean, dude. Although, speaking of Sean, I love that during the episode, Cody Rhodes, because he was the guest, he said, I've seen episodes where, people really do like you when it's over, but then other people, I never want to see you again. And then Sean mentions, it's just like a roller coaster. Actually, that was pretty much, that was literally the fourth wing. That's literally all they do when they talked about when they got to, Alchemy Peppers, Mango, Serrano, Citra hops, which was that was literally all they talked about, how emotional the roller coaster is, doing this show. But, let's see. They talked about what being a scholar in this industry is, which is basically, anyone can simply an outsider could watch the sport of wrestling, professional wrestling, and, not really get the nuances. But, you have someone like Cody Rhodes who, thankfully, is kind enough to explain such things. And he really explained it as, like, an outsider will really see it and think there really isn't much to it when someone who knows figures out that there's more to professional wrestling than meets the eye. He talked about how one of the best matches from before he went big was he actually wrestled in a church in Binghamton. Not very far from here, actually. Actually, Binghamton's about 45 minutes to an hour from here, but not far. And because it took place in, like, again, this is before this is before he made it big. So he did like a dive bomb, and like the ring collapsed, but they just kept it going. Like, if something like normally when a technical issue like that happens, you're gonna want to stop the show, but no, they just kept it going. Which I get, it does harken back to wrestling being more than meets the eye, because as a theater child, I can tell you that no matter what the situation is, the show has to go on. Like, if someone flubs up their line on stage, or if, like, a piece of the set falls when it's not supposed to, you can't let that stop you. You gotta keep the show going. That's what you gotta do. They talked about what are misdemeanors and felonies for wrestling. And keep in mind, I say misdemeanor and felony. Basically, like, there are things that you really shouldn't do as a professional wrestler. And obviously, misdemeanor is mildly annoying and inconvenient. A felony being, please don't ever do that. And, like, a misdemeanor would be like if you're giving, like, autographs to fans and, like, you want to take, like, a picture and, like, you put their arm over their shoulder like that, or, like, mess around or whatever. Like, don't do that. But felonies include asking for more than 4 tickets for seeing a wrestling match, getting up from certain moves that you should never get up from, someone's family, or looking into someone else's bag in the locker room, or someone's family sitting on the opposite side of, like, where like we can't see them or whatever. Like, again, there's a lot to it. They talked about how it was in fact Travis Scott that gave Cody Rhodes a black eye and a busted eardrum. It's true that Cody Rhodes went 48-0 wrestling for the state of Georgia, wrestling at 189 pounds, and he got 2 Georgia State Wrestling Championships out of it. It's pretty cool. He also talked about how his dad, legendary Dusty Rhodes, would, like, do surprise training by, like, cutting promos on the dog and even produce in the grocery store. If you don't know what cutting promos is, it's basically like, I could take a look at, like, what's an example? Like, okay, there's a chair to my left over here. And I say, like, see that chair? That chair thinks he's better than you. You think he's better than you? He thinks he's better than you. Like, it's sort of like, it sort of eggs the audience on and sort of like gets you on their side and stuff like that. I actually had no idea that cutting promos was the term, but now I do. Okay, this is a good one. Because when Sean asked him, can you, Mr. Potato style, come up with the ultimate wrestler based off of look, mic skill, style, and finishing move? So for look, he has Austin Theory's look. He's got a combination of John Cena and or Mr. Hartman's mic skills. For style, and I think because Cody Rhodes said it was like more technique, they said, but it was Bret Hart, and his finishing move is either the Stone Cold Stunner or Hogan's leg drop. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Huh? You know, I know it's I know that these episodes are recorded in advance. So it is very possible that this episode might have been recorded even so much as early as a week and a half ago. Or as late as a week and a half ago. But remember, earlier this last week, we just lost Hulk Hogan. It makes you wonder, did they plan this? Like having this Hot Ones up, like having, the proverbial new hero of professional wrestling, Cody Rhodes, as a guest on Hot Ones shortly after Hulk Hogan just passed away. Like, again, it really makes you wonder, did they plan that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure that it's just albeit very sad coincidence that it took place. They talked about were like some of the best historic matches, and because Cody Rhodes also teaches like professional wrestling school, I suppose. And Sean asked like, if you had like, what are required historical like wrestling matches that if you're teaching a class, what would you have in your syllabus? The syllabus is things that students have to do throughout the particular class throughout the duration of the course. And I guess it hit me. Sting versus Ric Flair, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, and WrestleMania 40, which Cody Rhodes was in. He talked about now they get to the bomb, and they talked about eliciting a receipt, and what would you say is worse, the dusty finish, or the schmaz. It's funny. Cody Rhodes says, my dad hated that term, but that is exactly what it is. But basically he said like the schmaz is better. And a potato is a guy that is open and elicits a receipt. Yeah, that's what I said. Actually. Okay, so with Cody Rhodes being a professional wrestler, you gotta know and recognize what's about to happen, especially for an episode like this one. And they get to Wing 9, and Sean Evans says, poetically, this sauce is called Sucker Punch. Which is what happens a lot in professional wrestling. But believe it or not, for this wing, all Sean asked is, how do you go about growing a mustache? Here's the thing. Only a few times in my life have I ever actually let my facial hair grow out. And just because there was no shave November. And full stop, like the 2 times I ever tried to do it, or was it 3? Like 3 times I ever actually tried to do it. And for whatever reason, I could never make it through the whole month. I think the first year I tried to do it, I had to look nice for a wedding I was going to. And then the second time I tried doing it, I just got fed up with it because I was in college, right? And in Gettysburg, there's actually one of those old school type barber things. Like it's run by like nothing but like old old good guys that are pretty much like in the area shooting skeet. Here's what's funny. Like I thought because I needed a haircut too. I thought I'd get my haircut and they gave me like an old timey shave. Like they lay me down like this, they put the lather on me and they sort of like do that or whatever. They didn't I mean they gave me a haircut, but they didn't do this, so I'm like, forget, I'm just gonna shave myself. And you know what? I forget what happened in 2013 when I did that. Huh. Anyway, in terms of like advice for growing a mustache, just let it grow for a while. And style it as you go. Like don't do anything to cut it off or shave it off yet. Like see what it looks like first and then try and mold it to your will. Because you're not gonna know how your hair follicles work. You know, you could get a mustache that becomes like, handlebars. Or you could get a goatee. Or maybe it just goes outward. You don't know unless you actually let it grow for a while. And finally, the last dab was great. So Sean asked, would you consider, these wings a worthy opponent? And yes, they are. Like, Cody Rhodes legitimately said, like, this is the most proud of myself I've been in a long time. And, you got people like John Cena who are great at saying, like, I did this thing, I'm on the top, nobody can do it. And, because at the next, like, major wrestling event that's going to happen, Cardi B's going to be there, who is also Hot Ones alum. Cody Rhodes cannot, like, because Cody Rhodes is now the only, like, professional wrestler currently to have done Hot Ones, he's now ahead of the pack. And the only people that are with him are other people who have done Hot Ones, including Cardi B. That's badass, dude. I mean, look, Cody Rhodes is awesome. I don't think anyone's ever going to deny that. And, I mean, he's great professional wrestling, obviously, but, I mean, I remember watching him when Bert Kreischer hosted the Go Big Show. Cody Rhodes is definitely following, here's the thing. I'm sure a lot of people are going to compare Cody Rhodes to John Cena in terms of the path he's on right now. Like, he's a babyface, which is basically a good guy. And, if and when, for whatever reason, Cody Rhodes decides to retire from professional wrestling, he really does have a camera and stage presence. He could totally be an actor after he's done doing what he does. I mean, I would personally enjoy seeing that, but I could totally see Cody Rhodes taking, it's a career path. I mean, it is possible to become an actor through different means. John Cena became as likable. John Cena is already a likable guy with actually some charisma to spare. And you could say the same thing about The Rock, too. I mean, John Cena's a little bit better about this than The Rock, but, I mean, listen, this is professional wrestlers. They're all able to do this. Their greatest strengths are also usually their greatest weaknesses. Meaning, like, especially, and The Rock especially has a problem with this. When they're in front of a crowd, they're incredible. Like, their presence, their charisma, beyond reproach. No one's going to top that. It's when they're in like a small crowd, in like a small room with not many people, that's where they seem to struggle. Again, The Rock especially has a problem with this. John Cena and like Dave Bautista, both definitely better in a lot of ways. I mean, The Rock has gotten better. He has gotten better with that. John Cena, for sure, is definitely great at it. Dave Bautista, I think, surprised everybody just by being Drax the Destroyer alone. And that now just leaves Cody Rhodes. Obviously, I don't know what the future holds for him. But if he decides to be an actor after he, retires from professional wrestling, if he does, he could totally pull it off. I'd watch it. I hope you like this video. And speaking of which, I hope you like watching this video. If you didn't like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. As always, I'm doing all these videos for you guys watching over there. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. Happy Friday, folks. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, let me know always back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.